Welcome back to iTour. Today we are going to talk about top 10 Caribbean countries to visit in 2021. So before starting this video, please like this video, and subscribe to iTour for our future updates. From the alabaster white beaches of Bermuda in the north to the cactus-topped desert inland of the ABC Islands in the south, the windswept coves and surfing reefs of Dominica in the east to the jungle-dressed tips of Cuba, and the Antilles in the west, the Caribbean has long been a treasure trove of things to do and see. Combining adventure with relaxation, hundreds of years of colonial history with enthralling Arawak culture, West Indian spices with European gastronomic flair, honeymooners with hill walkers, budget backpacker haunts with some of the most exclusive hotels on the planet, it's got something for every type of traveler. It's got everything from Cuban cigarillos to magma-spouting mountains, not to mention countless airbrushed beaches of pristine sand and shimmering turquoise sea. See you in the rum bars. Let's have a look at our list of the best Caribbean countries to visit. Number 10. St. Lucia. St. Lucia is like the child that refused to conform. Instead of settling down to be overgrown by mangrove and palms, it rose and rose, peaking with the mighty duo of the Pitons, or rising to a whopping 950 meters with the jungle-dressed Mount Gimme at its heart. Then there are the bubbling volcanic springs and mud pools, forever carving and changing the interior of the island around Soufriere. And talking of Little Soufriere on the south coast, it's here that travelers will discover the gorgeous cove of Anse Chastanet, hidden between cliffs and promontories and clusters of coastal waterfalls. The north of the island continues to offer up beauties too, like the golden powder of Redu Beach, and the strong bulwarks of Pigeon Island National Park, home to fortresses raised by the British during the 7 Years' War. The local climate is tropical, specifically a tropical rainforest climate under the Köppen climate classification, moderated by northeast trade winds, with a dry season from the 1st of December to the 31st of May, and a wet season from the 1st of June to the 30th of November, referred to by locals as the hurricane season. Average daytime temperatures are around 30 degrees Celsius (86.0 degrees Fahrenheit), and average nighttime temperatures are around 24 degrees Celsius (75.2 degrees Fahrenheit). Since it is fairly close to the equator, the temperature does not fluctuate much between winter and summer. Average annual rainfall ranges from 1,300 mm (51.2 in) on the coast to 3,810 mm (150 in) the mountain rainforests. Number 9. Cuba. A tumultuous past and political penchant for communism has meant Cuba has remained something of an off-the-beaten-track option for travelers in the Caribbean until only recently. The latest news is a loosening of travel and import restrictions from America, both expected to bring hordes of new tourists to the so-called Pearl of the Antilles. Cadillacs bump up and down the streets, and peeling stuccoed frontispieces circa 1925 give way to the offbeats of samba, rumba and songo aplenty. Cigar smoke puffs out of the speakeasies, and the sun-splashed Malecon is strutted by all sorts. Leaving the Che monuments and Spanish streets behind, the greater island offers up picture-perfect beaches at Varadero, ecotourism amidst karst mountains in Pinar del Rio, breathtaking vistas in the Viñales Valley, the list goes on. With the entire island south of the Tropic of Cancer, the local climate is tropical, moderated by northeasterly trade winds that blow year-round. The temperature is also shaped by the Caribbean current, in warm water from the equator. This makes the climate of Cuba warmer than that of Hong Kong, which is at around the same latitude as Cuba but has a subtropical rather than a tropical climate. Number 8. Antigua and Barbuda. Separated by a short gap of sky-blue Caribbean Sea in the midst of the Leeward Islands, the duo that makes up Antigua and Barbuda represent one of the region's most well-rounded tourist draws. For the best intro to the rest of Antigua, the larger of the two islands, most travelers will scale up to Shirley Heights Lookout, where the pearly white of beaches, the deep green of the palm forests, and the occasional bloom of bougainvillea spread out to reveal Falmouth and English Harbor, two of the earliest colonial towns here. Number 7. U.S. Virgin Islands. The USVI aren't your usual Caribbean paradise. That's not to say they don't have all the ubiquitous shimmering sands and aquamarine-hued waters. It's to say they have other things up their sleeve too. A mecca for yachters, the trio of St. Croix, St. John and St. Thomas, together with countless smaller specks of rocky land, like Water Island, Thatch Cay and Hassel Island, offer up a pick and mix of little coves and cliff-backed inlets to explore by boat. Then there's Salt River Bay, a verdant bloom of mangrove forests, that spills into the cobalt blue and pretty underwater corals of Buck Island Reef. Number 6. Dominican Republic. From the swaying palms and rugged cliffs of Los Hadeses in the east to the old mineshafts, and dusty trailheads of the Sierra de Bajoruco in the west, the surfing hotspots of Cabaret, and Puerto Plata in the north to the urban sprawl of Santo Domingo, and its concomitant colonial treasures in the south, the Dominican Republic has plenty of tricks up its sleeve. For most, the pièce de résistance is Punta Cana, where strips of white sand run along the windward coast like glistening ribbons in the moonlight, punctuated only by the occasional luxury resort, its infinity pools butting up right to rollers of the Atlantic. Others will aim for the beautiful coast of Sabao, and hop between fishing towns and salt-washed cays. Others still will go intrepid and seek out the ridges, and hikes of the Enriquillo Valley, and indelibly green Armando Bermudez. Number 5. The Bahamas. Spread out over a whooping 470,000 square kilometers of ocean between, where the beaches of northern Cuba give way to the Lucayan Isles, the Bahamas connect the Caribbean with the coastal reaches of the United States, and more specifically, the Sunshine State of Florida. More recently, the rich and famous came, settling their yachts between the coves of New Providence, and the beachfront villas of Paradise Island, or slapping poker chips on the Atlantis casino floor. Don't worry though, the Bahamas are for everyone. Ecotourists flock to the reefs of Grand Bahama, beach hunters for the secluded inlets of Long Island, sports fishers and divers straight to the coral gardens of Bimini. Number 4. Puerto Rico. Defended by the age-stained bulwarks of colonial forts, and crenulated, cannon-holding palisades, washed over by some of the wildest surf spots in the Caribbean, think the legendary likes of Tres Palmas, Rincon and the Middles, trodden by the likes of Christopher Columbus, and the marauding pirates of the Great Seas, and shaped by American and Spanish history alike, Puerto Rico is unquestionably one of the jewels of the region. The UNESCO-attested capital at San Juan is a real treat, awash with Baroque churches, the mighty El Castillo Fort and the shimmering beaches of Condado. It has a party side too, with oodles of Señor Frogs, and spring breaker bars bursting from the cobbled streets after dark. Go east to find the beautiful Luquillo beaches, and the frog-spotted forests of El Yunque, or south to see off the beaten-track ponds, complete with curious multi-colored cathedrals and some of the emptiest sands on the island. Number 3. Barbados. In Barbados, the waves lap like rhythmic samba beats against the soft sands of Alines Bay, or Brandon's Beach. The palm trees sway in the Atlantic trade winds of the rugged east coast, the wild surf swells spattering the boulders of Bathsheba, and cattle wash with salt and whitecap water. In Barbados the yachts bob in the harbors of UNESCO-attested Bridgetown, and potent rum is sipped between the distilling tanks of Mount Gay. In Barbados, the flying fish become frying fish with a Scotch bonnet top in the earthy holes in the wall, and luxurious all-inclusive resorts loom on the clifftops, their infinity pools just edging over the shore. In Barbados, there are millionaires and backpackers alike, some kicking back with piña coladas on sunning terraces, others hiking the jungle trails, scuba diving the reefs and enjoying the local rum shacks. Number 2. British Virgin Islands. The British Virgin Islands poke their jungle-clad heads above the swells, where the North Atlantic Ocean meets the Caribbean Sea. Blown over by the perpetual trade winds, these crown territories have long been a mecca for the chino-wearing, well-to-do sailor, raising a flapping sail and weaving designer yachts amidst the empty coves and crevices that line the moneyed tax haven of the V archipelago. However, in recent decades the spot has also entered the mainstream more and more, with intrepid types focusing on the endangered hawksbill colonies off Ginger Island, the blooming colors of the coral gardens, and awesome scuba spots, like the sunk RMS Rhone. Number 1. Jamaica. Start on the Jamaican North Shore where powdery white sands run their way along the coast, from the ivory stretches of iconic 7 Mile Beach, past the sheer-cut Negril Cliffs, through the luxury Uber resorts of Montego Bay, around the gushing Duns River Falls, and out to where famous James Bond Beach gives way to the jungles of Ocho Rios in plumes of swaying coconut palms, juniper bushes, mangrove and tamarind. Further in the east and the mighty Blue Mountains rise in verdant swaths of jungle, Jamaican boas swinging from the vines and the scents of coffee beans wafting along the undergrowth. Then, on the inland hills, visitors can seek out the birthplace of legendary Bob Marley at 9 Mile, or simply opt to flit between the rum bars of Kingston listening to the master, and his steel drum, Rasta off beats. So this was our today's video. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and to hear from us again subscribe to our channel.